For the past decade, lots of people in the United States have been talking about the need for 21st century education. There's been a discussion about why it's needed and what the 21st century skills for students might be. But there's been very little focus on what it is that schools and school districts need to do to really make it happen. You're about to see three phenomenal systems that have not only enunciated the 21st century outcomes, but have made deep long-term commitments to make them happen.
Tonight, the students are having a Socratic seminar about some different texts, and they'll be citing evidence from a novel, but also some immigrant interviews and historical documents. And as a collaborative team, we've all read the book that we're evaluating within the Socratic seminar. And I think that's fostered a greater sense of community amongst our collaborative team as teachers. The students see how we interact, and I think we're modeling the types of interactions that we would expect from our students.
Once you come through a few of these exhibitions and bigger projects where kids are working together and experiencing that success together, they come out of it transformed.
I think the fact that we have to do an exhibition makes the kids understand the content a lot more because there's a crowd around and you actually have to understand what you're saying and you have to understand what's going on because you don't know what somebody's going to throw at you. So you have to really understand the book and understand your interviews and understand everything that's happening so that you can participate in the conversation.
The students get a lot of time to really study a topic, to discuss it with one another, to put in their own insight about that topic as opposed to reading it from a book, regurgitating information on a test, and then possibly forgetting it.
They know what they're shooting to improve on. It's not just like, you need to be a better student, you need to work harder. We have these very clear, specific things. You need to work on how you communicate in a presentation. You need to work on how you collaborate with other students. I also find that there's always one of the C's that a student can excel in.
I think our focus on 21st century learning skills has helped all of us to kind of pause and reflect about, what we really do with the valuable time that we have with young people.
The minute our teachers walk in the door, we have them involved with other teachers and mentors to learn about what good teaching looks like.
I'm mentoring a new teacher this year and I go in her room and watch what she's doing and help her figure out how to refine her practice as well. That accountability measure I think is missing in a lot of schools, and here it's just expected that you are the same kind of colleague or teacher as we expect from our students.
In order for our students to be successful and be able to demonstrate and perform and apply these skills, we as the adults in the learning system have to be ongoing adult learners and model those same skills in the work that we do professionally and in the work that we do in the classroom with the students.
One of the great things about our district is that they provide their staff the opportunities to come together, take a professional development day and collaborate. And we look at the Common Core standards and we're able to break them down and discuss across grade levels, middle school and high school, elementary through high school, as to how that Common Core works, how it breaks down to deeper learning.
I think our focus on 21st century skills changed the collaborative work that we do in the district. We have professional development that's geared toward our work with systems thinking and with critical and creative thinking. So the conversations that we have with our colleagues are targeted toward those outcomes. So the work I do with my students improves when I'm able to get better professional development and collaboration on those topics with my colleagues. We get a chance to bring up topics that we would like to discuss, and oftentimes critical and creative thinking will come up, or systems thinking, so that we can get some ideas for strategies from each other that way. We also have data teams where we work together to analyze outcomes of what our students are doing, either content-wise or it might be a skill related to 21st century skills. And it gives us a chance to try things out in that collaborative setting before we work on them with our own students. And then we can come back and see how it worked and talk about ways to be more effective.
developed our strategic plan, Compass to 2015, we determined that we wanted our students to be critical thinkers, problem solvers, creative thinkers. We wanted them to collaborate and communicate effectively. But the challenge became, how do you assess these things? And one of the things we noticed right away is we currently don't have assessments that capture those skills. We do a great job of capturing academic proficiency, but not such a great job on assessing those important skills that students need to succeed in the 21st century for college work and citizenship.
We really needed buy-in from all staff and students in order to make this happen. We got our instructional leadership team together to really take a look at this strategic plan and how we were going to implement it.
We are called the ILT, the Instructional Leadership Team. It consists of people from every discipline that lead their PLCs, their professional learning communities. When we were drawn into the first meeting of the year, one of our goals that we voted to work on was collaboration communication, doing a better job at collaboration and communication. In order to accomplish this, you have to have some concrete things that you're using. So a rubric was developed to assess whether you're a novice, whether you're an expert at communication and collaboration.
You really need to create an assessment worth teaching to, and we believe that's what we've done. So now we're starting to see our teachers really buy into this assessment, and they're changing classroom instruction in order to ensure our students are well prepared for not only this assessment, but the challenges they'll have in the future.
I didn't make the decision to come here. I didn't want to come here. Now I realize that everything they're doing here, they're doing it for a reason. It's not just to be difficult. That's what I used to think in 9th grade year. Like, I didn't understand why everything was happening, and now I feel like the leadership skills they teach us, like critical thinking and collaborating productively, like those things are really going to help me not only get to college, but like succeed while I'm there and like be successful past college.
We've been doing 21st century skills for a while, but I think there's now a much more consistent and consolidated focus on 21st century skills.
They've seen students transformed from being disempowered in their education and not understanding its purpose or seeing its relevance. And then when I ask them to do things, when as a school we ask them to do things with their knowledge and to care about it and to use it purposefully, then you see them transformed.
I think we're well down the road to preparing our students for a future that's fairly undefined for them, but I'm optimistic that whatever comes their way, at least what I'm seeing with our product, that these are really capable leaders for tomorrow.
What do the 4 C's mean?
It means collaboration, creativity, communication, and critical thinking. I think they're very important because they are a part of everybody's life on a daily basis. Critical thinking is like deep thinking, like you're really pushing your learning, you're pushing other people's learning, you're just keep thinking outside the box.
Critical thinking is you having to figure out the problem and solve it yourself. Not just thinking of the basic answer, but explaining it further.
It's really using all of those parts of the brain to get a viable solution. You can't just use thinking normally, you should think outside the box.
Critical thinking to me is the ability to see a situation on the surface and be able to look past it and see the bigger picture behind it.
You can't just look at the facts, you have to look about everything around them.
You push your brain to think more. Really putting their brains to work.
You can use it in real life situations because you don't know what's going to happen next.
Definitely in biotech, we are critically thinking.
And it can better prepare you for what will happen.
Everything that we're doing is just so minuscule, and you have to basically think about it in a much bigger way, and just how this one little thing would affect basically your entire life.
Collaboration.
Everything's about teamwork. There's no I in team.
Definitely teamwork.
You're working in a group of people, and you're working together as a team, sharing ideas.
Collaboration is essential. You need to trust who you're with, who you're working with. You need to be able to count on them.
Collaboration is working together with other people and like communicating your ideas.
It's where you sit together down with a group of people. A little bunch or a big bunch of people working together to try to make something or get something to work.
Throughout work, you're going to have to work in teams. I know my mom, for example, she's an executive at Cigna, and her team is always working together on projects and getting stuff done together, splitting up the work evenly.
If you're like a doctor maybe or something, you're gonna have to collaborate with your patient, you know, to make sure you know what's really happening so you can help them.
To collaborate, you have to be flexible.
Collaboration is taking everyone's ideas and forming it into one idea to make the best idea that you can.
Let's say you have to go to a compromise because maybe you have an idea and they have an idea, and you can put your ideas together to make an idea even better.
Communication.
It's a lot like collaboration.
I think communication and collaboration can kind of go together.
Communication!
You couldn't collaborate without communication, it'd just be silent.
I think without communication, we wouldn't be very successful in life.
Without communication, you can't get your ideas across.
It means to talk to other people
For help or just to talk about something that's on topic. We communicate by expressing our ideas through our voice.
Expressing your ideas to other people, let it be the students, the other teachers, you know, an expert in that specific field.
If you don't communicate well, then people won't understand you and you won't get your point across. And when you communicate, you really want to get your point across, whether if you're face-to-face or an email or any other way.
We communicate in very different ways in school. We do Gmail, we do documents, we do notes, we do written letters. Technology helps you communicate better.
You can text, you can call now, you can use email, you can really use like anything now to communicate.
With all the technology, you can reach somebody who's half across the world and actually compare data.
When you're really, really old or when you're in college or any age, you can use it for any time of your life because you're going to have to talk to people.
Even in meetings, you're going to have to communicate to make sure that they understand maybe you're thinking too.
And just making sure that everyone understands your point of view.
Creativity. So creativity is you coming up with your own natural idea.
You got to be able to improvise, think on the spot, think of solutions when you have a problem.
You come up with your own idea.
You're just doing basically whatever you want to and thinking like what you could draw, what you can make.
You can really bring out you and yourself.
To express pretty much who you are just in a different way.
I think of original.
Creativity in school can be anything. It's you writing a poem.
When writing, just let your imaginary do the writing basically.
Bring out your own ideas and not just be plain and boring.
The world would be bland without creativity. Everyone would be doing the same thing and it would just overall be no fun.
Usually when people are being creative, that's when they feel like, ooh, this is fun.
Your ideas are different from everybody and they can definitely better the world.
We're going to use the 4 C's all throughout our lives, and learning them in high school is critical to help you be successful in the future.
There are necessities that you need.
We love the 4 C's. There you go.
C's for 21st century learning: critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity. But how do these skills affect your teaching practice and student learning? And how does technology play a role in building these skills? Let's take a step back. In 2002, the Partnership for 21st Century Skills, a coalition between the business community, education leaders, and policymakers, created the framework for 21st century learning. This framework presents a holistic view of 21st century teaching and learning. Within the context of core knowledge instruction, students must learn the 4 C's. These competencies are essential skills for students to thrive in work and in life. Let's take a closer look at how digital tools can help foster these skills in students. Critical thinking refers to students' abilities to analyze, interpret, evaluate, make decisions, and solve problems. For example, take a high school social studies class in which students are comparing society's use of fossil fuels in the past and in the present. In addition to online research, students can use video conferencing to conduct first-hand interviews with field experts. Students can use graphic organizers to organize and illustrate their findings, compare and contrast their data, and share with one another. Communication refers to students' ability to share information while expressing their thoughts and opinions clearly to others. Communication also requires strong listening and evaluation skills in order to aid in collaboration. It includes verbal, written, and multimedia messages. For example, consider a 5th grade class in which students are learning about forest fires in their region. A local fire chief asks a question on a community site about fire prevention efforts. Students could post short written or audio responses to the issue, thereby engaging in an online conversation. Students learn to articulate their thoughts in a clear way while gaining a sense of agency for having a voice around larger community issues. Collaboration refers to students' ability to work with others to accomplish a goal while being flexible and sharing group responsibility. For example, an 8th grade science class could work in small teams with other nearby middle school students to investigate local environmental issues. Students can assume different roles within their teams depending on their talents and interests. For instance, some can make observations, some can record data, and others can share out the results. Creativity includes abilities such as brainstorming, refining ideas, being responsive to ideas from others, and making ideas tangible and useful to others. For example, a 3rd grade class might work together to brainstorm innovative ways to address recycling. Students decide to create a recycling campaign in the school, including making a public service announcement video for an upcoming assembly. You can see from these examples that technology, when used strategically, can really enhance how you support the 4 C's in your classroom. Digital tools can help students think critically, communicate, collaborate, and be creative. And we know that these skills help foster higher order thinking, which is crucial for 21st century learning. So, what do the 4 C's look like for teaching and learning in your classroom?